what a leader can accomplish in the lives of the people that he's leading. Moses begins to use his words to do some incredibly powerful stuff in the lives of the people that he is called to lead. And I want to share some of those with you today in this episode because God sent a speaker, God sent Moses, and the first thing that Moses did was he had to go and speak to the people. You may recall that Moses had been actually raised in the Pharaoh's house. He was an Israelite, but he was raised inside of Pharaoh's household. When he first started to realize some of his potential as a leader and what he was called to do, and he saw the bondage that his people were in, the first thing he did is he ended up killing an Egyptian, which got him in a lot of trouble, and he had to run away, and he ended up hiding in the wilderness for years and years and years until God finally spoke to him and said, "Hey, I've called you to deliver my people," and he sends him, he calls him through a burning bush and sends him back to Egypt as a speaker. And the first thing he has to do is he's got to build relationship with the people it is that he was called to reach. And so how he does this is he begins to speak, right? He begins to speak. Some of you need to tap your chest right now and say, "I'm a speaker." Right? My words are powerful. And understand that the first thing he had to do was to rally the people together and to paint for them a picture of the future that produced hope for them. Right? And that's the first thing I want you to see, is that as a leader, your speaking, your words have the power to create hope and vision where there was no hope and vision, right? Moses began to share with them a picture of what it could look like to begin to live in freedom, right? To be able to go out and worship God as they please and to become the people that they were created to be. And he paints this picture for them. And so hope starts to rise up inside of them. It's one of the things I love about my church and the church where I am, Pastor Joel Osteen, is that, man, everywhere he goes, he is using his words to create and generate hope inside of people, right? People are being filled with hope simply by words that are being spoken over them. And I love that. And I love that Moses did that, and he began to create this vision for people where there was no hope. So look, you have the power as a leader to generate hope where there was no hope. Isn't that so cool? Like, people can be coming into your organization, your team, your business, your clients. These people can be coming in one way, and through the power of your words, they can leave filled with hope, vision, and confidence, and they can see themselves in a different way. It's a power that you've been entrusted with as a leader to do that. Now, let me contrast that, right? Sometimes as leaders, we get so focused on the negative things that are going on around us, right? And so we come into our staff meetings, and we come into, to client meetings, and we're just kind of promoting negativity, right? We're pointing out all the negative things. We're criticizing this and doing that, and using our words to actually to remove hope, right? So it's important as leaders that we be full of vision, that we be full of hope, and then we use our words and be intentional in those environments to use words to create hope in our team. Hope for where their department is going, hope for where their career is going, right? What they can do, like begin to paint a vision for what they could be inside of your business, inside of your organization, right? Hope for where the whole business is going, right? Just focusing on like those positive things that are happening, and speaking hope and life into the people around you. Remember, death and life are in the power of the tongue. And so you can choose to speak life into your business, into your organization. And we do that by communicating to people. So speaking hope is a huge part of it. Here's another one that I saw, because immediately God says to Moses, "I want you to go and speak to Pharaoh, let my people go." So there's another great privilege that we have, is actually to speak against the forces that are holding people in bondage, right? To actually speak directly to those things. In our speaking school, and when we teach people about great effective communication, especially in their keynote address, one of the things that we talk about is identifying a they, right? Identifying an enemy, identifying, what is this? What is the force? What are the things? What are the mindsets and beliefs that are holding people back from moving forward into their potential, from becoming all that they were created to be? And in this case, in Moses' case, it was Pharaoh, right? Pharaoh was the enemy, and he needed to be spoken to. He needed to be addressed, and he needed to be confronted. And so God sent Moses in and to speak to Pharaoh directly, let my people go. And so this is another privilege that you have as a leader, is to be able to identify the things that are holding people back. Like what are the mindsets? What are the people, right? The relationships, the things that are keeping them in bondage, keeping them from moving forward with into their full potential. And as a leader, you can identify those things and speak to those things. And there's authority in your words to break off those chains of bondage. Isn't that exciting? Isn't that like a privilege that we can do that for our clients? We can do that for our customers. We can do that for our team. We can do that for our family, to be able to identify where the enemy is that's holding them in place and to speak against it, right? And man, that releases some excitement. That releases some emotion. That releases some rallying cry among the people that you're called to lead when you can speak against that enemy. And look. And God will empower your words because you're a person of authority, because you're a leader, and He'll cause those strongholds to be able to be broken in people's lives. Isn't that exciting that we get to be a part of that? Here's another thing that I see is that Moses did, is that he spoke to the obstacles that were in people's way. After speaking against Pharaoh and performing all these signs and wonders and using his words, and the children, Pharaoh finally let them all go. Well, he changed his mind and started to chase after them. Well, they found themselves looking at the Red Sea, right? They have their backs to the Red Sea, and with Pharaoh's army closing in on them from all sides, and they had nowhere to go. And the Bible says that Moses lifted his rod, right? Cleared his throat, as the song likes to go. He lifted his rod, and he cleared his throat, right? But he spoke to the sea. He spoke to the obstacle that was in the way, and he caused that thing to part just by the power of his words, right? He spoke to it, and the Red Sea parted, and all of those 2 million people walked across dry ground, fleeing from Pharaoh's army. And look, there are obstacles that are in the way of your team from accomplishing all the things that you want them to do in your organization, from accomplishing all the things that they need to accomplish to become who they are supposed to be and make the contribution they're supposed to make in the earth. And you as a leader have the authority to speak to some of those things, right? To identify what those obstacles are and to begin to help them remove them from their life. This is, there are barriers. There are things that are holding people into place, holding them back from moving forward. And sometimes people can't even see what they are. But as a leader, you get to help to expose and identify those things through your words, through speaking it out, through showing people the right path. I often love to talk about Stephen Covey. He talks about in the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, when you're moving forward, when you're charting a course, he uses the illustration of people being together in a forest, right? And they're all like chopping, trying to move towards a destination. But he says that when you're in the forest, you can't tell where you're going sometimes. It's just everything looks the same around you. And you've got to have like somebody who can scale up the top of a tree, look out over the horizon and see where it is that you're going, right? To see the destination and to chart a course. Well, as a leader, that's you. Like, you're the person who can see where the organization is going. You're the person who can kind of lift up over the horizon and look around but specifically to identify where these barriers are and to plot a path to get people past the barriers that are holding them back. And your words are a powerful part of that. Being able to identify those things and speak against those obstacles that are in their way. Another thing, and this is a real fun one that we get to do as leaders, as speakers, right? God's sending you as a speaker, right? He's sending you as someone whose words have authority. And another thing that you get to do is to speak order into chaos. So when Moses, after they all get into the wilderness together and they've left that life of slavery behind, now these people have no idea. For hundreds of years, everything that they've done has been dictated to them by an external force. The idea of self-governance, the idea of like being free and being independent as a community, they have no idea how to do this. And Moses goes up to a mountaintop and he comes back down with the 10 Commandments, right? Which he speaks over them. As a leader, this is another great responsibility that you have, is the ability to speak order in the chaos, right? As an entrepreneur, as a manager, as an executive leader, oftentimes this looks like a system, right? This is like you speaking out a plan, you showing people the pathway to get to where we're going, right? In Moses' case, this was a community that was being built, right? He was showing them how are we going to live together in an orderly fashion, right? How are we going to build a prosperous community together? And what God gave him for that was the 10 Commandments. And he came down and he said, look, if we'll follow these laws, then we're going to be successful. We're going to be prosperous. We're going to continue to grow into a community. And so that vision of the future was painted really clearly for them. But hey, you've got systems, right? You've got ways of doing things that are going to help bring order into the chaos of your organization, help bring order into the chaos of your family, help bring order into the chaos of your team. And so as you begin to articulate and to identify the systems that they can follow, your words are going to create power. Like, this is powerful force that your words are going to be able to be used for inside of your organization and in your teams. You can speak order in the chaos. And the last thing I want to share that I see from the story of Moses in Exodus, the power of our words, the power of speaking, is that we get to speak to the hard places in people's heart. As they were traveling around in the wilderness, one of the things that happened is that they came to a place called Meribah, and which means bitterness. And it's called this because the water in that place was bitter, right? There was no water to drink that was drinkable. And so, of course, the people began grumbling and complaining in that place because they were like, why'd you bring us out here to the wilderness to die? We don't even have any water now. And the interesting thing here is that Moses then speaks, right? Say he speaks. He speaks to a rock. And when he speaks to the rock opens up, and out of the rock begins to flow fresh, clean, streams of living water that the people could drink. And this speaks to me that as a leader, one of the things that you get to do is to speak to the hard places, speak to those rocks, speak to the areas of bitterness inside of people's lives, and begin to see that actually those hard places become soft and actually become sources of living water. This is a powerful thing that we get to do as leaders, and I see it all the time, with different, clients that we have. I know you probably don't have any employees in your organization or any clients that you work with that are ever bitter or ever have hard places or difficult to work with. But we've had it on occasion, and it's a really neat privilege as a leader to be able to use your words to speak to those hard places and just start to soften them up, right? And then eventually to be able to see streams of like water, like living water. Those hard places become like flesh, and now living again. Very powerful. That powerful thing that we get to do as leaders, to be able to be a part of that transformation. And so I want to encourage you today, if you've got people on your team or people in your organization or people in your family and their heart is hard, right? And when they're just like kind of calloused and difficult to work with and difficult to talk to, as a leader, one of the things that you have the authority and the ability to do is to just come at them with kindness, with words that can speak to hard places, and watch them open up and begin to flow, like live and become flesh, and be nurturing, living water flowing out of them. Right, streams of water. The Bible says like flowing out of them, streams of living water. So look, why don't you just take a moment to acknowledge and say, my words are powerful. Right? My words are powerful. As a leader, as a person of authority, your words are powerful. You are, whether you realize it or not, you are a speaker. You might as well own the identity and understand that as a leader, when you get in front of people, that your words carry authority, your words carry weight, and you can use those words to build people up. This is your hidden reservoir of power. So we don't like to end any episode without giving you a very practical success challenge of the week. And so this week's success challenge is to find just one person on your team or a family member and intentionally speak words of encouragement into them, right? Think about it ahead of time. Pray and even ask God to empower your words. And then, even if it's a little uncomfortable, let those words flow out of you and just speak life into them, speak purpose into them, speak hope into them, and watch your hidden reservoir of power start to do a miracle in their lives. All right, can we do that? Well, listen, if you have any questions for me or anything that I might be able to help you with on a future episode, just post them down in the comments or reach out to our team. We'd love to hear from you, and we want to create content that's super helpful and relevant for you. So put them down in the comments, and my team will tee up those ideas for future episodes. And until then, have a great week, and I'll see you in the next episode. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. You know, great businesses and great leaders are built using effective communication. For more, go to speakingschool.com, grab my Elite Business Success Toolkit for free just for trying out our Speaking School membership. That's speakingschool.com. See you next time.